On the next episode of Sips, Suds, and Smokes.
I really love our price point episodes. They're very popular because people tend to shop in repetition. Like, have you ever bought or will buy more than 5 different cigars in your life? Or by price?
Nope.
Let's hope this discussion helps both groups for sure. Each of us has made a pick of a Toro under $10. We'll also try to answer why we picked that particular cigar as well. Drew's going to tell us all about the cigars we're going to be covering today.
All right. So we have 4 cigars that we are smoking today, or at least we smoked 4 today. These are from Don Lino, Africa, the Casa Magna, Colorado, the Plasencia Reserva Original, and the Perdomo double-aged 12-year vintage Maduro.
We'll be right back after this break. Brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Hey man, got a light? It's time for smokes.
Welcome to this Sups.
Supping hard.
You're right. I should just start all over again. Check 1, 2, 3. Hey, welcome to this Smokes episode where everything good in life is worth discussing. We are the best thing on at 2 a.m. in 6.5 countries. This episode is a 1-hour show that will be mildly entertaining for 40 minutes.
At least for us.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
I'm good old boy Mike, and joining me here at the table is good old boy Barger.
Hello.
Good old boy Justin.
Hi.
And good old boy Drew.
Hi there.
Well, our smoke segments, not our subs segments, but our smoke segments are all about cigars and, well, anything that is smoked. Here's what we're going to discuss on today's segment. Drew's going to tell us all about the cigars we're going to be covering today.
All right. So we have 4 cigars that we are smoking today, or at least we smoked 4 today. These are from Don Lino, Africa, the Casa Magna, Colorado, the Plasencia Reserva Original, and the Perdomo double-aged 12-year vintage Maduro.
Cool. Some really great things we're going to have on today's episode for sure. So I really love our price point episodes. They're very popular because people tend to shop in repetition. Like, have you ever bought or will buy more than 5 different cigars in your life? Or by price?
Nope.
Let's hope this discussion helps both groups for sure. Man, I could never smoke just 5 cigars in my whole life, let alone the 5 same of anything. Except one woman. Love you, honey. And right. I love half my stuff. These are all Toro-sized cigars that we have picked out in a price point that is no more than $10 on average. Now, look, some retailers are going to be a little higher. Some are going to be a little bit lower. But we used a common mail order retailer as the arbitration on the price points to keep this all super fair. Each of us has made a pick of a Toro under $10. And that host will introduce the cigar along with some basic description today. We'll also try to answer why we picked that particular cigar as well.
Are you a cigar newbie? I'm not. Fret not. We got you covered on our Cigar 101 episode where all the cigar speak will be decoded. Just search for our Sip Suds Cigars 101, and that episode should pop right up, or the following link to our show's notes. Today, we'll add a bit to that as we discuss Toro cigars, which are 6 inches long and 50 ring gauge. Justin, what is your girth?
Today, we're going to be demonstrating how to measure girth. Girth is a very important measurement when determining sizes. First, take your tape measure, place it at the center of the shoulder, bring it down through the crotch, and back up again.
Whoa.
Ouchie.
Hello.
Is that really involved? Well, Drew gets the honors of going over our smokes ratings for today. Drew, we have a cigar that was actually inspired from Africa today. So I'm going to let you pick any accent from Africa to channel while you're reading our smokes ratings for today.
Well, as let's say, a little bit of a minefield there. French is the most widely spoken language in Africa.
I think this is a very good choice.
Très magnifique.
We will be smoking and discussing these cigars and rating them with our sips, suds, and smokes ratings, plus our signature sounds. Here are those ratings now. Juan, otherwise known as Un. This sucked even before it was lit.
Nice.
Deux. 2. Do you really have to light this 3 times? Or should I say 3?
I'm actually feeling, a little turned on, over here.
Can you just say it slower?
Doucement. 3. Very nice. Now just go away so I can enjoy this.
Instead of Barger sneezing over here. For sure. Well, some really great cigars we have lined up for us all to go over. Like I said earlier, each person has picked out a Toro under $10 for us to go over. And Barger's up first with the Don Lino, Africa, if he's not sneezing his way through this.
Man. Okay. So Nestor Miranda of Miami Cigar Company was inspired to create the Don Lino Africa after spending some time traveling around the African continent and falling in love with the culture and scenery. The cigar was blended to capture the spirit of Africa and became one of the brand's most popular lines. Now, more than a decade after the original release, Don Lino Africa is being reimagined with a little help from AJ Fernandez. Made by hand at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez Cigars de Nicaragua S.A. in Esteli. The revamped Don Lino Africa blend starts with a hand-selected long filler blend of Dominican, Paleto, and Nicaraguan leaves from Omnitepe, Jalapa, and Esteli. The binder is sourced from Cameroon in Africa, covered by a sultry Habano 2000 wrapper grown in Ecuador. Medium, full in body, box-pressed, smooth as silk. You'll be greeted by a fantastic draw and notes as exotic spice, cedar, roasted nuts, leather. Grab a box and experience a blend inspired by one of the most beautiful places on earth, the African savanna.
I was waiting for the Christmas music behind the description of the flavors you'd get.
Roasted nuts.
And a partridge and a pear tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get mascarpone off this.
A little bit of eggnog there.
Yeah, Is there some allspice off this? So what do you think of the cigar? I know you love this.
I absolutely love this cigar. When I first started smoking, this was one that a friend of mine handed me, and I was like, what is this? This is delicious. And what struck me is there's 4 leaves in this cigar instead of 3.
Yeah.
And it's all African tobacco, which makes it just the way that they blend together is really, really well. I still have some of the first run of this because they produced it for a couple of years and then they stopped producing it. And recently they just started reproducing it in the last year or so. So it still has not lost any of the continuity between then and now. It's just a really good cigar.
Yeah. So Justin, what do you think of the Don Lino?
I thought it was pretty exotic. I was impressed with it. And we had a stick on another show with Cameroon tobacco too. And this is far different. The construction was great and it was good all the way to the end.
Cool. Drew, what do you think of the Don Lino?
I actually enjoyed it a lot. It was very consistent in the draw. I got definitely a lot of the cedar notes. I tend to have a thing for Habano 2000. Just about anyone that I've seen use it. I will say I haven't seen it used a lot as of late, probably back when I first started smoking, it was everywhere in the 2005 to 2010-ish period. Right. Everyone had a Habana 2000.
Oh yeah.
And that's when I fell in love with it. So I was happy to revisit it here. Very, very good. I would go back to this one again, which is not something that I've been able to say super often, but this is one I would definitely go back with.
Wow. All right. So I am the contrarian viewpoint. So no, I didn't plan on that. It was very earthy. It actually smelled like, the soil had been turned up. It had that, I've walked into a fresh, plowed field kind of thing, up front. Excellent draw and very well constructed. Mm-hmm. So, I'm guilty of the experience, as you can tell from a lot of my notes that if it doesn't burn well and even, and I have to constantly fix it and roll it, I am not a happy camper. So,
true.
But the thing that kept on happening with this, it kept on going out.
Really?
So the thing went out, before it hit the first ash, and I relit it.
That's never good.
And then I probably smoked through the, full second in the middle of it, and it went out again, and I relit it. And the strange thing is that the draw had not changed through the entire experience. And I just, I was like, am I doing something wrong? Am I a defective, cigar smoker?
Survey says.
Yeah. It was very smoke heavy as well.
Yeah.
So I just wrote some of my summary notes. This is not for me. The novelty of the products, and
sure.
working with some of these, various wrappers and fillers here, it just did not create something unique and different, from my perspective. I think these would be great in country. It's really great, if they grow, these quality tobacco products, in Africa. I'm sure that in the sea of things that are available, for something that would be sitting there that's local, great, but I think here, in the States anyway, I just think you have a lot better choices, so I just thought it was really okay, like at best.
Sorry you had that experience.
Yeah. So, we didn't get to actually, talk about our ratings here in advance. What is your rating from 1 to 3? We're all holding up hands in real time. And so I'm going to call it as a smokes rating of 2. See, I didn't editorialize there, Barker.
That's okay. Look, hey, we don't have to have the same flavor and taste. That's cool.
Never.
I get it.
That's the whole point of always, of us being on here.
If we all liked the same thing, we'd live in a very boring world.
So do we know anything about the distribution of these? Are they widely available?
They are widely available right now. I know that with the first run, if you find some of the first run, they are a completely different cigar than the new run, but they are both complex and share the same qualities, but they are 2 different smokes.
Yeah. And I actually forgot how these sticks. Did you go find these sticks?
I did. These were all 4 out of the same box.
Well, we'll be right back right after this break. Hey, welcome back to Sips, Suds, and Smokes. Today's episode is a smokes episode. We're going over 4 different cigars that are all Toro size and under $10. And we went through our first cigar, which was the Don Lino Africa, which was a 2, if you missed that there at the end of the segment. So I have the next cigar up. It is from Casa Magna. It's Colorado. And I have some background here about this cigar as well. Casa Magna, Colorado is a brainchild of 2 of the cigar industry's most revered manufacturers, Manuel Cosada and Nestor Plasencia. This Nicaraguan Puro is full-bodied and moderately priced, comprised of a Ligero and Viso fillers from several different regions of Nicaragua, and a beautiful Cuban seed Ligero Colorado wrapper. The Casa Magna. Yeah, I need hit the beat, man. The Casa Magna is hand-rolled in Plasencia, Nicaraguan factory. The result is smooth, rich, full body with undertones of coffee and sweet spice. A well-made slow burner at a great price. Okay, so this is a Grand Toro, okay, which is a bit fatter than a Toro. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that you guys knew that right off the bat.
Girth.
Yeah, it's like, what's your girth, man? So
Today we're going to be demonstrating how to measure girth. Girth is a very important measurement when determining sizes. First, take your tape measure, place it at the center of the shoulder, bring it down through the crotch.
I can just see her doing
and
this in
back
real
up
time.
again.
Yeah, it was a video.
And the guy just standing there going, this is happening.
Yes, that's right. I will tell you which model she was using. All right, so so you definitely noticed that right off the bat. It's actually pretty cool that we have 2 cigars from Plasencia today. That was unintended. They both wound. Excuse me. This particular cigar, the Casa Magna, wound up in a bag with other cigars that had made a best of list about 10 years ago. And I'm kind of always intrigued why some products wind up on these lists, mostly marketing and payola.
Oh, for sure.
Neither of which, it's so true, Mike. Neither of which is even remotely close to our own selection processes. So we call it like it is. We're nobody beholden.
That's right.
This is actually a very good wrapper filler combo, and I've handed these out as gifts, many times. It'll be interesting. At the end of this, I'll tell you whether I'm going to choose to do that or not.
Yeah, for sure.
I've actually run into a few that actually had a tough draw, and that's not unusual. They do make an Oscuro wrapper with the same filler, which I do not like, and it's actually laden with licorice. I just absolutely, it was
gross.
icky. So,
Sticky, icky.
Drew, what do you think of the Casa Magna? Oh, I should go through my own pieces first here. So I'm sorry, then I'll toss it to you. I really found this very difficult to just get lit. I have no idea, but it had this big, smooth draw. With just tons of smoke. I was like, wow, this is just completely filling up my mouth, very same flavor, mild, woody. In the middle had like these hints of mint that were going on. But it was definitely that big smoke thing that kept on going all the way through it. I just did not really fall in love with this again. And it had a completely different experience this time around. I didn't like the taste overall, and that big smoke thing was just a bit overwhelming for me. So I don't know that I would probably go back to this for sure.
I will not.
Yeah, we'll get to you in a second. Drew, what did you think of the Casa Magna?
It sounds like I might be the contrarian here because I actually enjoyed it.
Wow.
It was, it drew very nicely. It had a pleasant flavor that I really had a hard time putting my finger on, but then it jumped out at me. It was like, it reminded me of snickerdoodles, which I love snickerdoodles. If you've never had a snickerdoodle cookie, I highly recommend them.
As do I.
Is it the cinnamon part of the cinnamon sugar that
there was this burnt sugar kind of thing to it,
Caramelized kind of.
And I actually really enjoyed that because it introduced a level of complexity that I did not expect when I looked at it. You eat with your eyes first, you smoke with your eyes first, and
sure,
it was mildly sweet, but not to the point where I felt like I was smoking a flavored cigar of some sort. I enjoyed it. I would probably do it again. And I'm a big value guy, so under $10 was kind of my sweet spot. I smoke a lot of cigars in that area, and it was, at worst it was inoffensive. At best, I'd say it would go extremely well with a nice Speyside or perhaps a lighter bourbon, maybe some snickerdoodle cookies.
Yeah. Just really torn. I don't know what to do now. Would I still give these as a gift or not? And Barker's shaking his head. No. What do you think?
Oh, it's my turn now.
Yeah,
okay.
It is your turn.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
you are Barger.
That's right. Well, I just thought you were mentioning me. I didn't know it was my turn. Anyway, I hated it. And I really don't say that about a lot of cigars. I really don't, because if I don't like something, I can just say I don't like it. But I will never go back to this cigar.
Is it going to turn you off to the manufacturer?
No. I think Casa Magna has some things that are really good, but this cigar right here for me was not it. And it was, I think it's a poor representation of what they do. I feel like it tasted like I was smoking dirt from the start. And it never went away. I got halfway through it, and it was a big cigar. I got halfway through the cigar, and that flavor never changed. And I was like, I'm done. I can't. If I've made it 50% through a cigar and the flavor hasn't changed and made more complex or even less complex, there's
Just
no
change.
change. Yeah, just some sort of change to let me know that I'm still smoking a quality cigar. Then I'm out.
Okay, Simon.
Somebody needs a hug.
I do.
Justin,
Can I get that 30 minutes back?
What'd you no. What'd you
Like
think?
Micah had a hard time getting it lit, and I think the filler was packed too tight. It wouldn't let enough air through, and I couldn't keep it going. I got through about half of it and quit.
Huh. Well, I think what's interesting about this discussion is Barger, myself, and Drew had sticks all from the same retailer out of the same box.
Okay.
Justin's stick came from a completely different box,
really?
a different state. Yeah. So for him to say that he had the same
Dang.
problems
That is interesting.
it's not unique to that box or that lot. So his was
Right.
completely different. And so,
How did you
yeah.
light yours, Mike?
I have adopted the Barger methodology of lighting stuff, and I haven't talked this up a whole lot lately. I absolutely use the same process that he described every single time. And I will tell you that it really makes a difference. So
does.
I'm going to tell you the Barger methodology for lighting is very simple. You toast with the crown on. You take the cigar out of the wrapper, if it's a wrapper, toast it with the crown on, then cut the crown, then toast it some more or fully light it. I'm sorry, I skipped a really key step. I'm gonna go back.
below.
I'm going to do this once again. Take it out of the wrapper, toast it, cut your crown, blow through the cigar, blow out.
Blow on the end that you're toasting.
Yeah. And then light it. Suck, blow. Or blow, suck. And then light the cigar from that point using almost the same methodology that you use for toasting. And, really, to me, if you've toasted well, you practically don't even have to light the cigar, other than to maybe add some heat and really get it going.
Correct.
But, yeah. So that's a methodology I use all day long. And I there are a few steps in there that I was not doing. Like I would usually cut the cigar and then, blow through it, and then I would toast it, and then I would light it. But, I think Barger's methodology to me is much better.
A lot of that is to do with the gases from the lighter that you choose. So when you cut a cigar and hold it to your mouth and put a lighter to it and suck through it, well, you're just sucking those gases through the cigar,
Yeah.
which it changes the flavor of the cigar.
Yeah, well, I lit 2 of these cigars with cedar splits. So, but I still use the same methodology no matter what.
So we know how Barger lights his. How about you, Justin? How did you light yours?
I lit mine with the Barger method, and I use a Colibri butane torch.
It's called the Barger
We're going to
method.
patent that.
Yeah, we'll just that'll make the show notes the Barger method of lighting cigars.
So as I'd never heard of the Barger method, I did not do the Barger method. I also did not blow through the cigar. I did use a cedar, stick, as I almost always do, and roll and cut, toast slightly, and then roll and twist and just puff, 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 puff until I get a nice, burning red ember. I had no problems with it going out. I had no issues with the draw whatsoever.
No, I didn't have any problem with it going out, but it was a pain in the butt to get it lit evenly. I kept on looking at the end of it, and I'd blow on it, and like the top half would be red and the bottom would just be black, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Fair.
Let's just preface this. There's no wrong way to light your cigar.
This is true.
This is
The wrapper on is definitely
that's
the wrong
definitely
way.
wrong, but you still can do it.
That would be not only bad, but a fire hazard
I
as
do
well.
know some people that cut their cigar
Safety first.
while still in the plastic.
Oh my God.
And that is
No
I
way.
I do.
Oh,
and
that
I'm
is
like,
so
why? I'm like, you're just ruining your
maybe
cutter.
a punch.
No, like a guillotine cut.
Oh Lord.
Right there.
Yeah. These are people that drink hard seltzers all day long. That's That's what this
That's
is
right,
for.
that's right.
That's what these people do. Yes.
Ain't no laws.
They're white
baby.
clawing it up, baby.
And they're saying Irish whiskey is the best whiskey on the free planet. That's all those people.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I do challenge you folks listening, try that method of lighting a cigar because you will notice a difference. And especially off your initial draw, you will notice a difference. I'm not saying it's the correct way. I'm just saying it's the way that I do things.
I'll have to give it a shot sometime. I was unfamiliar.
Well, back to Justin's discussion of the Casa Magna, Colorado.
I just didn't get a lot out of it because of the construction issues.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's rate this one up. Can't see. There's his finger. I was just like,
Is that a middle finger, Justin? Is that what that is?
Oh, Lord.
our smokes rating here for the Casa Magna, Colorado is 1.
Under protest.
Yeah. So the thing that I learned very interesting is that it's very difficult to produce a very consistent product over a really long period of time. This is not the same product that was there 10 years ago.
100%.
And I think this is just somebody not paying attention to quality and not recognizing just how far they've drifted from the original product.
I just think it's another example of too many lines in their product line. You have too many things. You're trying to pump out too much stuff that you forget why you're even doing something.
Yeah.
No one ever does anything like that in any unrelated industry to this one either.
Well, next up is Drew with the Plasencia Reserva, which is also from one of the other places from the Casa Magna we just talked about.
Absolutely. So I selected the Plasencia Reserva Original. It is a Nicaraguan wrapper. The origin is Honduras. It is a cigar that Plasencia debuted years ago as the Reserva Organica. The Plasencia family is ecstatic about this, as they should be, because it is truly a one-of-a-kind cigar. Described as one that Columbus would have enjoyed when he discovered Nicaragua. It was the first and only fully organic blend in the world. The green niche product began growth in 2001, and the Plasencia family has had this unique tobacco for the Reserva Original certified using OSHA standards. That's kind of scary.
That's weird.
For qualifying as organic every year. These handmade beauties are medium in body and are made with the same sweet tobacco blend as the Reserva Organica. I enjoyed this one, but it was not definitely not my favorite of the flight. I selected this with some assistance from my local cigar shop because I walked into the humidor and I looked at all of my usuals, and none of them really spoke to me for the episode. So I turned to the guy at the counter and I said, hey, I'm recording this episode, best toro under $10.
Wow.
What would you recommend?
That's
you
an
go.
interesting selection methodology.
That's not bad.
When I go to
didn't
a
say
new,
it was bad, or I just think it was an interesting choice.
when I go to a brewery, I typically ask, if it's a new brewery to me, I ask what they like. And it was my first trip into this shop. So they haven't been open for long. And, maybe,
May I ask what shop?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
You just write it down. Tell me later.
All right, fair enough. But I will say that it was very mild. I did get some, cinnamon cedar kind of thing going on. The finish was, not finished, but let's say the aftertaste as you were exhaling through the nose. I had it was more oily than I would expect from a cigar as mild as this one. But I was pleased with the recommendation. It reminded me a lot of one of my standbys, which is a CAO Gold. So I will definitely go back and get another one, if nothing else, than to cultivate a further relationship with the store owner and, maybe get some access to some other things that I might not all the time. But I enjoyed it. Pretty much all the way through. It burned evenly for me, and it was relatively consistent. Although I think probably the best thing that I could say, maybe not the best thing, but the most it was inoffensive in every capacity. Nowhere did I come. I didn't like that. It was always like, oh, that's pretty good. Maybe I wish there was a little bit more, but it's under $10. I'm not expecting the world.
So I think one of the burning questions I have is, after they recommended this, would you go back to that retailer? And that's a really interesting, comment that I always hear from people about where they really trust, people in cigar shops. And sometimes it's the makeup of the shop. I mean, sometimes it's like, a store and they sell cigars and they sell, lighters and then milk and then cereal and diapers. And it's more of a convenience store with a humidor than it is, an actual tobacco store. And then you have like really high end places where, well, would you like for me to blend something for you while you're here, and you're like, wow, that just got hard. But anyway, so it's just such a wide, variety, of an experience for people. But I mean, I'm really curious.
I prefaced it with, I don't smoke a lot of toros. I am a Robusto guy. I'm a Robusto guy through and through. So, and I think he also may have been a little limited by the number of toros that he had in stock and at the price point. The more of the toros that he had were, 15 and up kind of deal. I ended up picking from like 4. And this was the one that really stood out to me.
I think there's a big difference in a cigar shop employee and someone that works in a cigar shop register that actually enjoys cigars.
Oh, yeah. He was smoking a cigar when I walked in the door.
And I think that you really understand that when they ask you, well, what's your palate? What do you like? Mm-hmm. And then they start asking you questions like, what do you like to drink? What do you want this for? And I really think that makes the cigar experience in a local cigar shop key for me personally.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, can those people wear a name tag or have a tattoo or a giant, figure on their forehead to figure out the difference? That would be really great,
They'd get a gold star on their shirt.
I think it's a good...
Like a sneech?
Right. I think it's a
star on their belly.
I think it's a good point.
Justin just volunteered for that.
There you go.
Absolutely.
If they start asking you questions about your palate, you're going to have a good time.
Absolutely.
If they just, walk you to a certain area of the humidor and say, this one, that's not the person you want to listen to.
This one's not selling. Let me sell you some of these.
Right.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll come back. We'll talk some more about the Plasencia Reserva Original, as well as, some other comments, I'm sure, about, people putting gold stars on their bellies. Just for you, Barker.
Sure, right around the button.
We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Sips, Suds, and Smokes. On today's episode, it's a smokes episode.
Smokes.
And we're going over 4 cigars that are all Toro size and under $10. We were talking about Drew's pick, which was the Plasencia Reserva Original. And we're just having kind of this interesting conversation, about walking into a retail shop and just, kind of exploring what are some things that, they recommend. So the one thing that I wanted to share with everybody was the shape about this cigar. So I think this was the only torpedo. I'm pretty sure it was in the lineup. So this is a torpedo shaped Toro. And with a pigtail crown. Yeah. So a little different than, some of the other, Toros that we had in the lineup.
Kind of shaped like those Gurkhas.
Well,
but that's a different conversation.
I was about to say, please, that's a way different conversation. Definitely need some lube
with or without the kukri knives.
Yeah, that's right.
Did the look of the cigar influence some of your choice, other than the employee? Did you look at it and go, wow, that's a different looking Toro with the pigtail and torpedo shape?
I have enjoyed torpedo shapes in the past. Maybe it takes me back to, cartoons where, the guy chomping on the cigar, it almost always is a torpedo. Yeah. No, I mean, I wanted to, again, get something that fit the episode and also, just sort of feel, is this guy going to be, on the up and up with me? Is he trying to push something that isn't moving, or is he, listening to, my answers to the questions that he's asking, and will those be, will it be a good pairing? I think he gave me what I asked for.
Yeah.
So just to clear this up, this was actually a perfecto, not a torpedo.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha.
So that with the tapered on both ends.
okay.
Gotcha.
A torpedo will have the
Maybe
will
I
look
had
like
a poor
torpedo.
I had a poor
It's okay. It's
recollection.
okay.
You know.
The torpedo will have the angled end on your cap side,
Right.
and will be a regular cigar on the foot.
Okay. Oh,
Fair.
yeah. It was. Yeah, I definitely remember on the foot it was closed. Yeah. Right.
Gotcha.
Thank you for correcting.
Yeah,
me.
you're welcome.
Yeah. Justin, what do you think of the Plasencia Reserva Original?
This is the closest cigar I've had that would be similar to something a cigar roller would give you at a party.
Oh, that's a good
That's
way
a
to put
very. We're all nodding our head.
Yeah,
and
that's
completely
good.
agree with that description. Yeah.
It was very fresh, light. It was well done. It's like classic cigar flavors and smoked all the way through, no problem.
Had you had this before?
No, first time.
First time. Huh. Interesting. So when you were looking at it, I'm really kind of curious about the visual aesthetics. Did it really influence you to go, wow, this one's not like the others. This one's got to be a lot better.
I didn't notice anything.
Interesting. Barger.
Desensitized to shape at this point. All sizes.
One size
shape
fits
will
all,
do,
right?
right?
Right.
It's about the girth, right?
It's about
It's about the pina colada lube.
That's right.
Today
That's
we're
right.
going to be demonstrating how to measure girth. Girth is a very important measurement when determining sizes.
Very important.
First, take your tape measure, place it at the center of the shoulder, bring it down through the crotch, and back up again.
Whoa.
Hey now.
Hey now. Barger, what'd you think of the Plasencia Reserva Original?
Well, I think I'm a little bit different than some of the other opinions on here. Let me just preface this with Plasencia as a long line of making cigars, long history. When I first started smoking, I was smoking Plasencia sun-grown cigars. Delicious. And I can still remember them. They're extremely well. This cigar, I feel like it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was consistent. The flavor from lighting it to the flavor from finishing it, and I finished it before I walked in the door here today. The flavor to finishing it was the same, but it wasn't like a flavor. You know what I mean? Like it was a great. It was a good flavor, I think. I think it burned well. I think the construction was good. And personally, I kind of like a Perfecto every now and then. It gives me a little, oh, this is different. Kind of, let's cut this pigtail off and see where this rabbit
Were
hole
you
goes.
appropriately dressed?
Well, yes. I mean, I had to put clothes on before I came in the door, but,
You don't have to put the tux on just to smoke the cigars.
That's right. No. I think I think for the price point and for the quality, I think it's very approachable for $10. I think it's very approachable, and anyone who likes a lighter bodied cigar that's not over the top, I think will enjoy this cigar.
Gateway cigar.
Yeah. Kind of. It's not light enough like a Connecticut, and it's not overt spiced like a Ligero or a Sureau is going to be. It's kind of that middle of the road where I'm just dipping my toes into cigars. Let's get something that's going to get me a little bit of flavor, but not going to blow my socks off. You know what I mean?
Well, here are some of my own notes about the Plasencia Reserva Original. The shape definitely caught my attention, and I was like, okay, this is definitely not like the others. But it was very mild up front. The draw was kind of airy and thin. Drew's nodding his head over here, agreeing with that. There was some barnyard funk that was kind of coming off this, through the first and the middle part of this. Big, bold type, fresh ground cinnamon. I thought something was busted for a little while. I thought my nose was busted or something. And there was a little hint of mint that was going on. I really almost felt like somebody had handed me like a after dinner breath mint or something, for a second.
Sir, would you like an Andes?
Yes. Honestly, if it had some chocolate component to it, that'd been the only thing I thought was really missing about it. I really love the product that I chose to pair with this was a Japanese whiskey. It is Hodozaki. It's a small batch.
Oh, delicious.
And the thing that I've had a problem with this particular Japanese whiskey is that it's very sweet.
It's like a dessert whiskey.
It's not like a dessert whiskey. It's not that, it doesn't go that far.
No Tokaji finish or something. Yeah.
But it has this, a lot of Japanese whiskeys have this very lovely, lush floral overtone to them. They're very delicate, and even to pair any Japanese whiskey with a cigar is like, maybe that's not the best choice.
Danger.
Mike. Yeah. So, but the thing is I've had this product a couple of times and I keep on thinking, I'm like, there's a place in the world on the planet that you can enjoy with this. And I'm like, I really think I want to go for it. And I never had these two things, before together. And I have to say it totally worked. The sweet floral elements, actually elevated the experience of the Plasencia, cigar. I would go back to that pairing all day long. The cigar itself, I really loved, the experience of it. And I kind of loved the taste profile. It was one of the last sticks, that I had, as well. It would definitely be something I would go back to. Let's see what our ratings are going to be, for this. Hold up a couple of fingers there for us, Justin. Well, I'm going to call it as our smokes rating here for the Plasencia Reserva Original is going to be a 3. So congratulations. Yeah, really great stick. And
hope that makes up for the Casa
and a retail employee recommendation. So, that's really great.
They're not all liars.
They're not.
No, I would never say that. Yeah, I trust like 3.5 people, in a retail setting.
Present company excluded.
You are an attorney, right?
Right, yeah. There was Earl down there around the corner, but he lost an eye. He ain't that good no more. He can't see them products up on the top shelf.
Plus, he kind of walks funny.
Yeah, we always put the stuff up there that Earl don't know anyway, so it all works out okay. That's just a little too close to the truth.
Yeah, for real.
For sure. Well, we've gone through 3 cigars. We have one more left, which is from Justin, which is from Perdomo. I love Nick Jr. And so I really look forward to this discussion. Take it away, Justin.
So this stick is the Perdomo Double Age 12-year vintage Maduro. Nick Perdomo has outdone himself this time around, shelling out 3 separate blends that each lay claim to a 12-year-old exquisitely fermented tobacco leaf. Dressed in Connecticut, sun-grown, and Maduro wrappers, Double Age 12-year vintage has a selection for every cigar lover out there. All the tobaccos at each blend, wrapper, binder, and filler go through an extensive double aging process. They are bale aged for 10 years before moving on to barrel aging in charred white oak bourbon barrels for the next 2 years, resulting in a refined product that's brimming with flavor. This process ensures that the crop from 2001 has impeccable color, texture, aroma, and flavor. The Maduro variation explodes with notes of dark chocolate and coffee, naturally sweet with rich and robust complexity, and a long, cool finish awaits you with every double-aged 12-year vintage Maduro.
This background needs a soundtrack.
This gem begs to be lit as soon as you gaze upon it and take note of the super oily Nicaraguan Maduro wrapper leaf. Plumped up with pristine Nicaraguan long fillers, this medium to full-bodied hitmaker deserves a spot in your rotation. So, I really like this. The coolest part was it just generated a huge amount of smoke. I thought I was at a electronic dance music club, and I was really digging it. And the bourbon flavor was more subtle than I thought it was going to be with 2 years of aging in ex-bourbon barrels. But that's okay. It didn't overwhelm it. And the quality with construction was consistent throughout. I got a lot of really subtle dark chocolate coffee flavors. This would be perfect with a really dry white wine.
Huh. Interesting pairing choice for sure. Do you think that choice is unique to this cigar, or you would
Yes.
actually pair white wine with any Maduro?
I haven't tried it with any other Maduro.
I don't think I would have ever put a white wine with a
Definitely
Maduro
not.
cigar.
Never. Yeah.
Definitely not.
I can't
That's
say
interesting.
that. That's like a Don Quixote moment, you know. It's
But good for you
it's
for,
like, it's
for
like charging
reaching
a
out.
windmill
Yeah.
with a Q-tip. you know?
Yeah. Good for you for trying new things.
I mean, maybe like a late harvest Riesling or something, super sweet.
Yeah, that would have enough sugar that would compete with it. Yeah. Well, I just heard Barger's opinion of that.
Any
choice.
white wine in me is just not happening. I'm just not going to do it unless
With
it's in
it-
like a frozen
Definitely
grape.
not with a Maduro.
Yeah, no.
All right, Justin, we're just going to call that that's a questionable decision that you're owning up to, okay? That's all I have to say.
You should have paired it with Zima or something.
There you go. See?
There you
I mean, it would at
What
least come
doesn't
with
go with
this.
Zima, really?
You could have just put on an 80s channel, off a satellite
right.
radio, and boom, there you go. Yeah.
I'm going to put my
that
Wham
music was
record
definitely
on.
happening. Either that or Yacht Rock.
I can already hear Wham in my head.
That's right. That's right. I ain't never going to
You gotta
dance.
hurry
again.
up before you go.
Right. Drew, what do you think of the Perdomo 12-year vintage?
Well, based on my previous conversations with you gentlemen and my opinion of Maduro in general, I did not like it at all. It was, I would agree, it was a lot of smoke. I don't know about electronic concert, but definitely like I was in a smokehouse. Lots of meat hanging around me. Not really. No, don't go there.
He likes meat hanging
I
around.
like how
Let's
he
just throw that-
gestured
yeah.
and pointed
Yeah,
at me
yeah,
both at the same time.
Just don't do it.
like he, Mike, I know it.
Yep, nope.
Please don't talk about my love for meat.
I mean, I do like all the Nicaraguans. That's all I'm going to say. But no, I will say that it was not as bad as I expected it to be. I think is perhaps the nicest thing that I can say. It was one note, and that was just hot sugar. And then, as I'm exhaling, over my nose through, over my palate, it just was like just ashy, oily, ashy. Maduro's not my thing though. So, if you're a Maduro person, great. If you're not a Maduro person, this is not the one to become a Maduro person with.
Barger, what'd you think?
Well, I have lots of thoughts on this process here. First off, Nick Perdomo, what a guy. Great guy, great cigars. You either love Perdomo cigars or you hate Perdomo cigars, I found.
True.
And this is kind of a middle of the road for me on this because when I first started smoking, I loved Perdomo cigars. However, it was very bland for me, and it was a very one-trick pony. And there was lots of smoke, there was lots of earth, but it was just lacking something for me in a Maduro. There was not enough spice, and it didn't kick it for me.
Yeah, and I think just add just a few elements about it. The flavor off this was really interesting. Big full flavor. I actually got some coffee beans, off this.
Really?
Let's rate this up real quick. Let's see, Justin. I can't see what you're holding up, but we'll go for it anyway. It is a smokes rating of 2. Well, interesting flight of toros under $10. Really fascinating all around. I think at least one cigar I know we'd all go back to.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, really fascinating. And I really love just, the story that Drew had that, it was a retail employee, just recommending it. So I thought that was really fascinating for sure. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you're listening to us online, do yourself a favor and tap the subscribe button. That's the easiest way to listen to our show, is to ask any of the voices in your head, including a couple from Barger.
Hi there.
Or any of the ones that are on your phone. It's like Siri, Alexa, Google, or Uncle Larry. Play podcast, Sips, Suds, and Smokes. We love your feedback, and you can reach us by email at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day. @SipSudsSmokes is our Twitter handle, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with thousands of fans on those social media platforms, including the I Hate Maduro cigar Facebook group.
There are people for me.
Are you saying that you're the admin of that group, Drew?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
do us a favor, but you are willing to do that.
Yeah,
Is that what I
there
heard
you
you say? Do us a favor.
It is the call of my people.
Take the time to rate this episode, not
5
Drew's
stars.
taste buds. If you're listening to us online, that's a great big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well. I hate Maduros like Drew. I look forward to the additional comments around some of our choices today. Well, I want to thank my co-host for being here. Thank you, Barger, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Justin, thank you for
Thanks so
being
much.
here most of the time. You're not going to send me a bill again, are you?
No promises.
Do you start the meter running when you talk or when you say something useful?
When I wake up in the morning.
Okay.
Spoken like a true lawyer.
Yeah, like for sure. Good old boy Drew, thanks for being here.
I hope to come back as long as you don't hate on me for hating Maduros.
Oh, we're going to have an all Maduro show just for you. Well, it's good old boy Mike asking you to come back. Join us for another exciting episode of Sip, Suds, and Smokes. And I'll ask you to keep on sipping.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the good old boys, will see you all next time.